Thank you for joining us, folks. I am John Najarian. I appreciate you tuning in to 3 at 3. Thank you for joining us. It is 9/11, so of course, a lot of us that were around for trading on those days remember that and remember it vividly. And we would like to honor those brave folks, whether they chose to be brave, as some heroes have been cited, or whether they were victims. It was a terrible day, and it was also something none of us, again, that were there for it would ever forget. That said, prayers up to the families and the victims. Let's talk about trading today in 2023, shall we? Today, I'm going to cover on 3 at 3 unusual activity. Unusual activity is the sort of activity that we saw prior to 9/11. Many of you recall that we had been cited on various news services, CNN and others, that we had seen unusual activity in the puts of both American Airlines and United Airlines. And while some had tried to dismiss that as, oh, it was probably just a hedge fund getting a swath of puts on. We didn't buy into that. We still do not believe that. I was in touch with the FBI. The FBI was in touch with my brother Pete and I about this, and I know where those trades cleared. Don't need to discuss that today. But suffice to say that this was not just some hedge fund that was making a trade. This was nefarious, it was evil, and it was just in the two airlines out of all the airlines that they could have bought puts in. They only bought puts in these two airlines, despite the fact that Delta at the time was the biggest airline in the world, despite the fact that you could have made far more money buying puts on the S&P 500, which closed subsequently for the rest of the week and didn't open for trading again until the next week. But nonetheless, wisdom is justified by all her children. And so I will focus on today's trades, and hopefully none of these are of the nefarious nature that those trades were back in 2001, September 11th. But let's go to that right now, beginning with Tesla, which had a monumental call, some 60% move in the price target for Tesla was made by Adam Jonas over at Morgan Stanley because of the Dojo computer that Elon Musk has built apparently from the ground up for AI, artificial intelligence. And the 270 calls for September that expire this Friday were 59 cents last Friday, and yet today traded up to $7.75. That is an example of strong activity that has resulted in whether you want to call it great timing or whatever, certainly a windfall. As you see there, the volume on the screen, that's the second column from the bottom on the right side. The volume today was 110,000 contracts a couple hours ago versus 19,900 open interest. That's, again, very unusual, which is why I'm showing you. And I'm likewise pretty pleased because it's my third largest holding. Also wanted to show you this one, Twink, which is Hostess Brands, Twinkies they're famous for. You might recall that they went bankrupt in 2012, and yet they reemerged, Hostess did, coming out with TWNK. And there you see that at the end of August, they were buying September 30 calls. And those September 30 calls that went from 55 or 60 cents, they traded to at least $3.60, if not higher today. And again, this being an example of if you follow our work, you might, there's no guarantee, you might make similar profits. This was what, some 6x from 60 cents to $3.60. Bang. Again, that's why we follow unusual option activity. That's my brother Pete and I getting ready for business and getting ready for battle, because that's what we do every day. Like many of you, we trade actively. We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. All right, let's get into today's Vale. This is, of course, one of the larger miners in the world, and known for a number of metals that they mine. $13.75 was where the stock was at. They bought 10,000 of the 6th of October. Notice the 06 in front of October. We do that to let our subscribers and all of you know that the 6th of October is the expiration we're talking about. Not the third week in October, but the 6th of October expiring calls at the 14 strike, just 25 cents above the market. They were buying these calls, paying perhaps 41 cents. Seems like a small risk for a potentially big reward should Vale come up with some reasons for a big pop to the upside between now and the 6th of October. Second trade today is Fubo, F-U-B-O. And the stock was $3.33, 333. They bought almost 5,000 of the September 350 calls. These calls being purchased in Fubo caused us to say, all right, I've only got 4 trading days left to trade it, but I want to be in. So these calls give us a great risk reward, as did the previous example in Vale. And finally, 46,000 puts in the SPY. S&P 500 Spider is a pretty interesting trade, we thought, because 46,000 is 4.6 million short shares, hands out short shares at the 426 strike. That's 22 points below where the Spider is trading now. Perhaps people that were buying these are looking for a swoon, maybe because inflation running a little hot means that it might not just be a September rate increase. We might be seeing a couple before year end, and that would be negative, many of us would say, for the SPY. Could be protective, but when somebody buys this many puts this quickly, we want to follow. So that's why I highlight it for you. Well, that's going to do it for us today, folks. We appreciate all of you joining us. Again, think about what happened on September 11th in 2001, and perhaps shoot up a prayer if you're so inclined for those victims and their families. marketrebellion.com/get started is how you can get started with us following the unusual activity. That's marketrebellion.com/get started. And we will be back tomorrow. I'll see you then.